Welcome back to the shop. Today, we're going to turn this into this for the 2017 Scroll Artist Challenge from Simply Wooden Creations. I know I'm very new to the scroll saw world, and my partner in crime is really good at these small, tiny cuts. Watch along and see how this came together. Here's our design. There's a nice piece of poplar, a nice big thick piece of oak, and some cherry. Now, the picture-in-picture was a new thing for us, and I didn't realize initially that it had been on loop instead of just running through one time. But it's a good thing because, as you'll see, my big thumpy hands are up in there trying to make those little tiny cuts and being very unsuccessful. So I called in my kid, who was phenomenal with these things, and they went ahead and started cutting out the small pieces for the cardinal numbers on this clock. You can see we added in a piece of plywood for zero clearance up there. Now I know that picture-in-picture is really hard to watch, so thankfully it did loop repeatedly. That way you can watch that up until all the pieces for the card suits are shown, and then you can go back to watching the larger pieces getting cut out here for this Mad Hatter's hat. Alice in Wonderland being, of course, one of my favorite stories as a child and has continued in through adulthood. And Mad Hatter being my favorite character because, well, the man is mad and he just has a lot of fun at his tea party. I was actually kind of surprised. This is the third time I've ever actually touched the scroll saw, even though I've had it for a couple of weeks. And I get nervous with it, I won't lie, but I did a pretty bang-up job. As you can see, that cut went through real nice, straight and even. Let me see here. Oh, yes, of course. I wanted to make sure that you knew there are two different blade sizes on there. I did use a much thicker one for these heavier cuts, especially since I was working with hardwood. The burl that my kid is cutting out with was really, really thin, so we put a smaller blade on there for the tight corners. All right. Coming up here in just a few moments, you're going to see a progressive shot of the pieces as it came together. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to get disqualified because not every single thing was done on the scroll saw. As you'll see coming up in just a few moments, we had some interesting problems to overcome, and I just had to go old school and do it the way I knew how. So, after this band here, the cloth band getting cut out of the cherry, gets done, we'll be able to show you what I'm talking about as far as use of other tools and progressive shots. Love that my big hand's right in the way. This is kind of embarrassing, but you'll see that the cuts came out really good. I actually surprised myself with how tight I stayed on the line. All right, now we routed out the hole for the clockworks. There's all the pieces come into play. I think it's going to look all right when it's all done. So, in the beginning, I played a little bit of a cruel trick on my child and had them using the sander on the drill press with the speed set all the way to low. And then I took over and realized how low it was and went ahead and set it all the way up on high. And obviously, that worked out much, much better. Now, in combination with the drill press, we actually used the random orbital sander as well, and got a lot of the curvature just right in order to have that dimension. If you look on the piece I'm working with right there, it looks like there's a grooved piece. Now, initially I was going to take a rotary tool and carve that up a little bit, but decided I was already using more tools than I had felt comfortable with considering the title of the challenge, and I was hoping that this wouldn't disqualify me, so went ahead and skipped that part. As you'll see later on when the final product comes out, that we do not have all of those little intricate pieces there that would have given a little bit more depth to the piece. Really kind of curious what it would have come out like. I may just actually do this project again at another point in time, just because I really did enjoy the process overall. And one of the bigger pieces was being kind of stubborn about working on the drill press. So my kid, after taking a little bit of time, went ahead and grabbed the rasps and went at it to remove the bulk of the material before we could throw it on the orbital sander. Here I just took out the stand from the clamps and getting ready to put everything together with some glue. And, this really came out nice considering the little weird setup I've got going on over there to balance everything out. Put some weight on it, and we let it sit. Come back, peel everything off, and everything looked really good. I mean, at this point, I was super happy with it. Now it's time to attach the card suits. We have hearts on the top, clubs at 9 o'clock, spades at 3 o'clock, and the diamond is done at 6. This came out really good. There was very little squeeze out from the glue process, and what little we had, we just took the X-Acto knife and clipped it off. It worked out really, really well. And because there was so little glue and the pieces were so tiny, it really didn't take long to dry at all. In fact, we probably only let it sit about a good 30 minutes or so before we went ahead and started working on the finish, which is coming up in just a little bit. Now, here's a shot of it after getting dry. I mean, that just looks really pretty. So I decided to go ahead and work with tung oil again. I love the way that it darkens up the wood, and I'm almost certain that the top piece is poplar. It's unidentified wood I got from a cabinet maker locally, and it just really, really looks pretty when it gets all oiled up. Along with that oak on the bottom, the cherry in the middle is just phenomenal. I was really wishing I could have got some tighter shots in of those card suit pieces. That little burl really had some interesting twists and whatnot to the grain, and you just can't appreciate it until you're up close to it. I just went ahead and oiled up the back as well, just to make sure everything stayed protected. This piece is going to be going for sale at a craft show coming up, actually. So I'm hopeful that it'll give somebody a lot of pleasure. And there it is, all wiped down. And there's the next day after everything's cured up real good. Went ahead and put the clockworks inside. And wow, it just really, really came together. Super happy with this. So there it is. We really had a lot of fun making this one here. With the encouragement of Paul's Messy Workshop, Sterling Davis, Russ Clarity, Katie Dodson. I know I'm missing a number of you out there. I'm sure of it. A lot of encouragement to just go ahead and get on the saw and get going. Not near as attractive as some of your entries, and I'm still okay with that. So thank you, and if this is your first time on our channel, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. We've got more coming, and we really want to share with our ever-growing family on this channel. Thank you.